Hi, John McElroy here, talking all things automotive. And today I want to talk about GM, Ford, and Tesla from a financial standpoint. That's because when you run the numbers, Tesla is just crushing the other two. I mean, crushing them. We already knew that Tesla has really good margins. But now, when you couple that with higher manufacturing volume, the numbers just jump off the page at you. Last year, Tesla sold 1.3 million cars, and when you add that many cars to the best profit margins in the business, you realize why all the other legacy automakers are deeply worried about this upstart. That's right, Tesla is no longer a start-up, it's an upstart. Bold, brash, arrogant, and rich. Those of you who have been following me for a while know I used to be a big critic of Tesla. People would say to me, look at all the things that Tesla's doing and none of the legacies can do it. And I'd say, yeah, but they're losing billions. And if you want to lose money every year, then of course you can do things that companies that need to turn a profit cannot do. Tesla lost money every single year from 2010 to 2019. Hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Add it all up, and it lost over $6.8 billion. But then, in 2020, it turned a net profit for the first time for the full year, nearly $2.5 billion. And that is when I changed my mind about the company. Not only did Tesla start posting annual profits in the billions, it more than made up for all the money it lost between 2010 and 2019. And now it's pulling away. General Motors actually put in a decent financial return last year. It brought in $156 billion in revenue, up an impressive 23%. Ford brought in a bit more money, $158 billion, up a solid 16%. That's some of the best year-over-year growth either one of those companies has shown in a long time. But meanwhile, Tesla brought in $81 billion, which was up 51% from the year before, and it shows that it's still holding to its track record of growing 50% a year. And this is where it really gets interesting. GM posted a net profit of $9.9 billion. It exceeded Wall Street expectations, and all the analysts gave GM kudos for its solid financial performance. Ford didn't fare so well. It lost nearly $2 billion, and Wall Street scolded the company for doing so poorly. Tesla posted a net profit of $12.5 billion, which was a staggering number. Think about it. GM sold 4.6 million more vehicles than Tesla did. It took in $75 billion more, but Tesla made $2.6 billion more in profit than GM did. Ford sold nearly 3 million more vehicles. It took in $77 billion more, but Tesla made $14.5 billion more than Ford did. It just makes you wonder what happened to all that money at GM and Ford as it went from the top line to the bottom line. Look, Tesla did not do so much better because it was pinching pennies. GM spent $9.8 billion on research and new product development last year. Ford spent $7.8 billion, and Tesla spent $3 billion. Tesla spent so much less because it's got a smaller product line and sold fewer cars. But on a percentage basis, Tesla spent more money than they did. And when it comes to investing in new plants and equipment, Tesla was just about there with them. GM spent $9 billion on capital expenditures, while Ford spent $6.8 billion, and Tesla spent $7.1 billion. That's staggering to me. Tesla spent more on CapEx than Ford did. So you get my point. Tesla is not making so much money because it's not spending money, just the opposite. It's spending more on its core business than GM and Ford are. What's also so interesting is that from one traditional metric, cars per employee, Tesla doesn't look so good. Cars per employee means how many cars each employee could make in a year, theoretically. It's a basic measure of overall productivity. By that measure, each Tesla employee could theoretically make 10.2 cars. With the GM comparison, it's a little bit tricky because GM counts cars that were made by SAIC and Wuling in China, but it does not count the people who make those cars as its own employees. So you got to adjust for that. And when you do, it comes out to about 21.7 cars per employee. Ford did even better, 24.4 cars per employee. The reason why Tesla doesn't look as good in this comparison is because it's so vertically integrated. It makes a lot more parts in-house. And clearly, vertical integration is a competitive advantage for Tesla, but not necessarily for everyone else. Toyota and Volkswagen are also quite vertically integrated, but it doesn't make them more efficient. In 2021, Toyota only made $1,839 in profit per car. Volkswagen only made $1,914. I'm using 2021 numbers for them because neither company has posted its full year-end earnings yet. Even so, I don't expect the numbers to change that much. Meanwhile, last year, Tesla made a whopping profit of $9,557 for every vehicle it sold. GM made $1,673, and Ford lost $468 on every vehicle it made. Another way to measure the operating efficiency of a company is to look at how much revenue and profit a company makes on each employee. GM generated $938,000 in revenue for each employee. Ford did $913,000, but Tesla was only at $637,000 because Tesla sells so many fewer cars. But on a profit basis, there is no comparison. Ford lost money on each employee. GM made nearly $60,000, while Tesla made $98,000 in profit per employee. And this all just goes to show how much more efficient and profitable Tesla is than anyone else. It is in a league of its own. And this is a danger signal for all the other legacy automakers. Not only do they need to invest heavily in really competitive electric vehicles, they also need to revamp their organizational structures to become far more efficient than they are today. Otherwise, they're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table as they try to compete with Tesla.